Hey there, it's your pal Dave from Notes and Volts back again for stream numero dos. This is my second time on the stream, and let's see how we do. Okay, so first thing, um, since my last stream, I have gained 6 followers. Like six, you can't even count that on one hand. You got like one hand and a pinky. So that's pretty cool. I wasn't really expecting to gain any of them, so thank you and welcome to all of you. So, in case you don't know, this is a channel devoted to electronics and mostly musical electronics. So, kind of DIY synth, Midi controllers, stuff like that. So, stuff that makes noise, stuff that annoys your parents. And for you younger Twitchers, your parents probably on your case. It's like you're always on there watching the Call of Duty and all this stuff. And now you can watch this and you can say, Mom, get off my case. I am learning valuable engineering skills. Okay? This is going to help my future. So this is not bad for you. This is actually educational. Maybe. All right, we'll see how it goes. So anyways, so last time we just kind of set things up. This time I think I got things running pretty well. So we're going to get right down to it and play with some stuff. So this is, if you go to my site, notesandvolts.com, you can see how to build this guy. This is a MIDI controller with potentiometers that can send MIDI CC data to whatever you connect to it. So we're using an Arduino Uno as the brains of this, and it's a real simple circuit. We have a MIDI output circuit. We have 6 potentiometers wired into the inputs of the Arduino Uno. And that's really all there is to it. Like, this is not that hard to do. So right now, let me switch views. I love this stuff, like this camera view stuff. Oh yeah, that's really cool. So in this view, we've got our bench. We got the scope down below, down there. And computer window here, we could do some programming. So let's kind of take a look at what we have so far. So right now I have a MIDI cable coming out of here, and it's going into a MIDI interface on my computer. So let's see what we can do. So a great way to test if your circuit is working, if it's putting out the correct MIDI data, is to get a MIDI monitoring software like this guy here. This is called MIDI Aux, and it's really good software for monitoring MIDI messages. So as you can see, as I turn the controls, and maybe I don't know how clear your resolution is, but if you look, right, mouse here. So this line here is the actual MIDI data, and you can see it kind of increasing and decreasing as I turn the pots. Right? And if you notice the next line, this is the actual control number that we've programmed this to output. All right, so right now this is on control number 1. And if you look over here, it's actually telling us, yes, that is a CC command and it's for modulation. Whereas if I turn this guy, let's get a better one. So if I turn this guy, I'm actually on a different number, and it's just telling me it's a control change message. So gives you a lot of information, but it really lets you see if your thing is actually outputting the data that it needs. Another thing to notice is that it's only changing the data when I turn it, right? It's not doing anything when I'm not touching it. And that's very important, because if you don't build these correct and you don't program it correctly, it could be like just outputting tons of data without you doing anything, and you don't even realize it. And what that will do is it will clog your MIDI stream, and it will make things kind of bad for you. Let's see, how's my streaming doing? Great. Okay, so now that we've had that part done, let's actually do a more musical example. So, you know, it's fine and all good to kind of watch it on a screen, but you want to actually hear it, like how it works. So let me see here. So I have a super cheesy keyboard. This is a Yamaha DX100 that I've used for years just as a test keyboard, because I don't really care if I blow it up. So you don't want to use your brand new DSi instrument that you paid $3,000 for when you're hacking your own hardware. Okay, so yeah, this one, if it's done well, if it goes away, you know, I'd miss it, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the MIDI cable, put it into the input of this guy, and if you notice, this knob here we had programmed at MIDI CC1, which is modulation control. Now on the keyboard, if I turn the modulation wheel with this sound, notice how it adds that oscillation to it, right? Oh, that's musical. That is nice. Okay, so technically, if everything's correct, this should be doing the same thing, right? But remotely. So if I play the note and I turn this, there you go. You can actually hear. You can actually hear the lovely tones that modulation adds to this sound. So that's pretty cool, like that. And you can program these to do whatever you want. Like you can look through your synth manual, and there will be a whole list at the back. Like you got to go to the back, the scary part, you know, with all the charts and stuff and no pictures. Yeah, that's where you find the good stuff. And you will find a chart of all the MIDI CC commands that your synth can deal with. All right? And you could set each knob up to do something fun with the sound, and yeah, that's pretty cool. So that's that part. Now, I did a tutorial on this, and everybody kind of went, hey, that's great, but what about buttons, right? We want buttons. And here's the issue I have with my channel. Like, the videos I make on the channel take me for friggin' ever to do. Like, there's so much work. And it always happens that, you know, I'll put one out, and 2 seconds later, someone will be like, oh, when's the next part? You know, it's just like, I just worked for 10 days straight to get this one part out, and it's coming. It's coming, right? So I thought, to kind of hold people over, I do this live stream, and, you know, they can kind of see me working on it, so they know I'm just not, like, goofing off when they're not watching. And, yeah, and, you know, hopefully they'll pick up some of the stuff as well, you know, just from these crazy little streams. And for you people who may be watching who don't know anything about electronics, like, you know, you can watch and just see how it's done. And feel free to chat some questions, because, I can try to help you out. You know, it's not scary stuff. It's actually very fun, and there's just a little bit of knowledge you need, but nothing too hard. Like it's not out of your reach if you really want to get into it. Okay, so enough of me jabbering on about nonsense. Let's build the next part. So I'm gonna grab a brand new fresh breadboard. And so for you people who, don't know what this is called a solderless breadboard. And it allows you to build up circuits very simply, like in a temporary fashion, without soldering, without, wiring and all that stuff. And you can change them very quickly. The way this works is like these rows of pins are all connected, and then on this side as well, these rows are all connected. So I can plug something in here, plug something into the pin next to it, and it will be connected, right? And that's basically it. These rows here are all connected all the way across, and we use these for power and ground. So each component has an easy way to get power and ground. These are really useful. This is a 63 row wide board. Yeah, so I don't know why it's not 64. Like, wouldn't that make sense? Like, it's divisible by 8. Yeah, it would really make sense. But no, they decided to go with 63. Or maybe this is a 64 one. Who knows? I'll count it later. Anyways, so let's build up our new circuit. So let's push this out of the way by for a little bit. So the first thing we have to do is we need to build our MIDI circuit. So what you need, first of all, is one of these. This is called a 5-pin DIN socket, and this is like the standard socket that a MIDI cable would plug into. All right, so, and this one, I get this type for when I'm working on these circuits because they fit really nicely into the breadboard. And if you're kind of prototyping, that's a good thing to think about when you buy parts, because some parts are really good, but they don't fit well onto a breadboard. Like I have these type of MIDI jacks that I use for kind of finished products, but they don't fit. All right, so bye for you. Now here is our nice one. So what we're going to do, there's 5 pins that line up with the 5 pins in the jack, and we're just going to stick it right. What oh, who's following Skatery? Thanks, welcome. Oh, amazing. All right, so cool. I got a follower, and you know what? You just tested. You are the first guy to test that my little pop-up stupid things work, and it looks like it does. So very cool. Welcome aboard. All right, so let's get our MIDI jack, and we're going to stick it right in the corner here to give ourselves as much room as possible. All right, there it is. So what we have to do is on our jack, so let's draw the 5 pins. I don't know if you can see this. I'll draw it really big. There's our 5 pins. All right, the 2 outer pins. Actually, I'm going to go to a full, what am I doing there? I'm going to go to a full screen. There you go. Much better. So the 2 outer pins we don't need. All right, they're just for decoration. These inner pins that we're going to use. So this pin here, we're going to connect a 220 ohm resistor to that, and then to our +5 volt line. This guy, we're going to connect another 220 ohm resistor, and this will go to our Arduino's TX line, which means transmit. And this middle one is just going to go directly to ground. All right. So that's like a MIDI out circuit. Like nothing scary about that. That's pretty simple. So let's build it up. So let's take first our little resistor, 220 ohms. And these are called quarter-watt resistors. You can get different size resistors for different power ratings. For this stuff, it's so low power, you just want a quarter-watt. All right, so let's stick that in here. And you know, it's like I'm jumping the center of the board, right? So there's a space in between, and that we don't want to short the two parts of the resistor. We want the current to have to flow through the resistor. So the center channel basically splits the board in two. All right, so let's let me get another 20 ohm resistor. I probably have hundreds of these and I can never find them. All right, here's another one. And resistors, if you don't know, they have colored bands on them that tell you the value, and it's kind of like a secret language. So this one is red, red, brown. So the two reds are two twos, and the brown is how many zeros are after the two. And you can look up, there's charts. You know, it's hard to memorize, but you can look up on charts, and it will tell you what colors you need for the value you want. So let's put this on the other pin. All right. Wow, done. So we said this pin here, we want to go to 5 volts. So I'm going to use, you notice on my breadboard here, one's red with a plus and one's blue with a minus. So it makes sense that I make the red plus my positive power voltage. Let's see. And you know what? Keep my numbering nice. I'm going to flip this to the other side of the board, because that's what I do. I'm kind of, I like numbers to line up. Makes life so much easier. So we just do what we just did. There we go. So now it's at the far end of the board. Now another valuable thing when you're prototyping is these guys. And this is a kit filled with pre-cut, pre-shaped wires, right? Because cutting wires is about the least fun thing you can do in your life. So, you know, pick one of those up, $10, and, you know, save yourself a lot of time. So let's take this guy and let's put it to the positive rail. So we'll call this the positive rail. Okay, so now we have, like just what we said, this pin going through this resistor to the positive rail, positive 5 volts. Okay. Now the middle pin, we're going to connect, remember, to ground, right? So what we have to do is we'll take a little wire and we're going to jump it across the middle of the board like that. And then we'll take another wire and we'll jump it to our ground rail. So remember, like all these pins are connected, So we're just kind of connecting this, jumping the middle, and then jumping to our rail. And finally, this guy has to go to the Arduino's TX pin. So we're going to do that last because we're not going to hook it up to the Arduino yet. So that's pretty much our MIDI circuit done. This is a MIDI output circuit. And this is standard. Like MIDI is a standard and there's rules about it. So as long as you follow the rules, your little thingamajig can technically hook up to any other thingamajig that supports MIDI, right? And if we all just follow the rules, everybody will get along. There'll be no fires, no electrocutions. Everybody will be happy. We'll all have a good time. All right, so this is a standard MIDI out circuit. Let me just check something here. And one thing, so my sometimes I can't see the colors as well as I could. Oh, stop it. So what I'm going to do, just to make sure, and the thing about electronics, you always want to be safe. You always want to be sure, because with the stuff we're dealing with, you're never going to hurt yourself, but you can blow stuff up and damage it, and you'll have to buy a new one, and that will be very sad. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a quick measurement of these resistors, because I'm just seeing that color is orange for some reason. Maybe it's the lighting in here. So I'm going to take my meter, and this meter is set to measure resistance. So we can tell, okay, that's good. So it's like 221 ohms. So it's close. A resistor will never be the exact value it says it is. But it will be close within a certain percentage, right? All right, so we just caught a problem. You notice this? That's actually a 330 ohm. So those red bands I thought I was seeing were actually orange bands. So let's get rid of this and see if I got an actual 220. See? So just taking that little time, we actually caught a little problem that could have had us scratching our heads later going, why isn't this thing working, right? Sometimes like it's something as stupid as that can make your day bad. And it can make you sad and kind of make you mad and maybe turn your name to Chad. All right, so that's better. Cool. All right, so that part's done. So let's get to the next part, and we're going to take these fun, happy little push buttons. So now I sound like Bob Ross for some reason. Just take a happy push button, and it wants to live over here. I think it wants to be, it has a little story to tell, and it wants to live here. Okay, so enough of that. So you notice this push button actually has two pins, right? And all a button does, like a button's a stupid simple device. So when the button's not pushed, these two pins are not connected electrically. When I push the button down, these two pins become electrically connected, right? Like that's simple. Even I understand that. So let's stick it on the board, right? So one pin's kind of here, one pin's the next one over. All right. Branch the board. No, it doesn't. And I'm going to start as far over as I can. Okay. So what we're going to do with our buttons is stupid simple. Finding my pen is not as simple. All right. So our buttons. So here's our happy button. Two leads. One's going to go to ground. The other is going to go to our Arduino board and one of the pins on the board. And that's basically it. Now, usually, I'll tell you a little secret, or not a secret, but a little thing. Usually, um, when you connect a button to an Arduino, you're going to want to put a resistor in there, right? Because you don't want a short circuit. But the Arduino chip actually has built-in resistors that we can use to, so we don't even need that. That will be internal. So we can just plug it straight in. Check some here. Yep. Good. Okay, so let's get started. So let's go over here. I'm moving it here because I'm just going to use this bottom rail for my power and ground. So let's take a pin. Got a lot of these ones. Make sure I get the right pin. And there you go. So I've connected one of the pins to ground. And the other pin, we're going to connect to our Arduino board. Now to do that, we're going to, I'm going to move over. I'm way in the corner here. We're going to use these guys. And these guys are flexible breadboard cables. Another thing you should get a lot of. So the ones we had before, these little connectors aren't flexible. These guys are flexible. And you can get them at different lengths. So they're good for jumping off the board to other devices. We'll take it from the pin and we're going to put it, so first of all, I'm going to disconnect all this circuit I worked really so hard on. And going away. Yeah. Okay, so this guy here is going to go to one of our Arduino inputs, digital inputs. So inputs 0 and 1 are for our serial MIDI data, right? So the 0 is RX, which is receiver. MIDI data would come in there, but we're only using the TX because we're sending MIDI data out. So let's go to pin 2. That's our first kind of free and open digital pin. Okay, so there we go. There's a digital pin hooked up. All right, so we're just going to do the one button first because if I can't get one button working, I'm not going to get more. That's a good rule to remember. There's got to be a better way these things fit. Buttons are good. They don't really fit that well into the breadboard. All right, there we go. And, you got to find the best way. So I'm going to put the board on this side because that's kind of where it wants to be. All right, now the next thing we have to do is connect the power and ground from the Arduino to our breadboard circuit. So there's two sockets on the Arduino. There's 5 volt, 5V, which is 5 volt, and GND, which is ground. So if you remember where we said we're We're going to take our red pin, our red strip, and make that 5 volts, and the other guy will be ground. Now the last thing I need to do is I'm going to take a longer wire and connect the TX pin to 5 volts. Which you remember was, sorry, what did I say? TX pin? No, we don't want to connect TX to 5 volts. We want to connect TX to the Midi jack, right? This pin on the Midi jack. And there we go. There's our crazy circuit. So now we have to program it, which is the tricky part. So let's, what I have done, sorry, I'm all wired, my headphones are all tangled. Is I have made, let's get rid of the guy, get rid of this. I've made a program that's very simple to use, and all you have to do is you download it. We're going to open this Midi controller Uno. So it's kind of a library. Right, and that should open thing here. Oh, opened on the other screen. You know what? I need more monitors. That's something for, that's for sure. All right. This, I need that. Yeah, I need way more monitors. What am I doing? All right. This guy. I got a lot of programs open. I want to get rid of some. This guy. Okay. So this program kind of takes a lot of the work and does it for you. So here's the program. It's actually a few programs, and it looks pretty scary and big and frightening, but it's not. I gotta give you the right view too. Don't worry, I'll get the hang of this. Promise. Okay, so there's our program. All right. So all we have to really do, and first thing is this program uses the Arduino Midi library. And if you go to my site and look at the tutorial for the potentiometer circuit we did, it just shows you how to add the Midi library to your Arduino IDE. So that you need that for sure, and it's free, but you just need it, or none of this will work for you. Okay, so here we go. All we have to do is we scroll down here, and you see this set the number of controls used, right? Number of buttons, 1, right? Because we got 1 button. Number of potentiometers, I had 6 for my other one, but now we have 0. These are these 2 are multiplex buttons. We're going to get into that later because that's a whole different topic. So we describe what we have. 1 button. Okay. We don't have any pots. We have no pots, so we can get rid of. This is kind of configured for the last thing I did. And we can get rid of these guys. So I'm just commenting these out. These are the pots that I made for the other example. Bye to all of you. All right, now all we have to do is describe our buttons. So I've got a bunch made. So let's just use these. So I'm going to uncomment the first one. Now if we look up above, this is what each of these numbers mean. So the first number is the pin number on the Arduino board there that the button's hooked into. And if remember, we set it into number 2, pin 2. Next one is command, and we'll look at that in a sec, but that basically tells the button how to work, like what it's supposed to do. Third button or third parameter is note number, and that tells the button if we want to play a note, that's the note that it's going to put out. So right now it's 60, which I believe is in MIDI middle C. I think it's C at least. Next one is channel. So MIDI has 16 channels, right? And you know, if you have a bunch of different synths hooked up, you can have each one on a different channel, and you know, you can control a bunch of stuff all on the same channel. The last one, debounce time. So debouncing a switch, when you hit a switch, you can find like it will seem to close immediately, but the processor is reading it so fast that it actually can, for a fraction of a second, bounce. Like when it's like hitting a spring, right? It can kind of bounce a few times before it actually closes solid. And the processor is so fast, it can read those bounces as individual notes. So you may hit it once, and it may trigger twice or 3 times, and you're like, I just hit one note, and I'm getting 3 notes. Like, what's going on? Well, that's a button bounce, right? So this parameter is the time in milliseconds. No, is it microseconds? Anyways, it's the time that the program is going to wait for this to stop bouncing before it says, hey, this is an actual real value. So I can trust this value. It's not a bounce, right? So you can change that. If you leave it at 5, that seems to work in most cases, right? But if you have a button that's really nasty and it's just bouncing, you can set it a little higher to 10, 20, and that should take care of the problems. The last thing we have to do is we have to add our button to the button array. So first of all, we're going, and it tells you how to do it right above. This is the example. So what you have to do is you write an and sign or an ampersand, and then the name of the button we just created. So this one was BU1, right? I could call it Fred, I could call it Jimbo, but you know, BU1 makes sense to me. All right, so we added it to our thing. And that is all we have to do to make this button hopefully play. Now, so I'm thinking this is all going to work, so I'm going to save this as a new program. And of course, it pops up on the other screen. Once again, I need more monitors. Bad way. All right, so let's name it controller, MIDI controller button 1. All right, so there we go. Now, if there is justice in the world in any respect, I'm going to hit upload and this will work first time. Now, if there is not, it will not. And most of the times, it will not. It will if I'm by myself, but if I'm trying to do this live, it's going to, well, let's see, right? Gamble. So I go to upload, hit it. All right, look at the bottom of the window where it says compiling sketch, right? It's doing stuff. It's going. Now, if you look on my Arduino, there's going to be two lights. Oh, look at that. What is it doing? Did it go? Is it going? Still compiling. Uploading. Looks good. Does it? Is it? No. Ah, why? So this is the can't open device comp 3. All right, so I think maybe I'm on the wrong com. Or no, right? How am I on? Right again. What happened was I actually like when setting up my Twitch stuff, I kind of changed all my USB stuff and I rewired everything. So this is my first time uploading to this guy. I don't know, what is it TXing? That's not right. It can't be that. It's got to be COM3. All right, so what you're seeing right now is the fun part of electronics where you want to cry. Is definitely receiving something. Take this out for a sec. COM3 now. Wonder because if I have like 17 cameras hooked up to my thing that it's giving me an issue now. Okay. Try again. Uploading. Something's going funny with this. Just take everything out. Not reading the board. Open device COM3 fired. Uploading board. So all it's really saying is it can't see the board. And what else have I got open? Could be messing with this. You know what I'm gonna do? All right. I am going to copy this over to another computer. One that's not so bogged down with stuff. Give me 1 sec here. See the joys, the fun of live Twitch streaming. All right, check that. So I'm just putting it on a USB stick and ejecting it. So these kind of problems is the type of stuff you'll come across while you're doing this. Like, and you're guaranteed to. So don't be discouraged. Got to fight through it. And when I upload this, I'll edit all this out and it will just seem like I'm a genius. All right. Okay, so let's open. Of course, you can't see what I'm doing. I'm just trying to upload to the board. I got the com. Well, how are you guys doing? Sorry, I'm just like, I'm concentrating and I'm being a bad streamer. See, this is why it's easier just to like, oh, there we go. It's uploading perfectly. So yeah, something to do with this Twitch stuff that's tying up my COM ports and doing some weird stuff. But we can still enjoy. See, like that's the thing. Like it's so much easier just to put on a halter top and dance for people's amusement. So much easier. But that's not the choice. That's not the life I chose. I chose to do it the hard way. All right. So, yeah, where's that? This button's got to. And this has got to go to plus 5 volts. All right, so now we're back like nothing happened at all. Like everything went smoothly and perfectly. And this is why on cooking shows they always go, "Oh, well, while we wait for it to cook, here's one I already made," right? Then when this sort of nonsense doesn't happen. Yeah, I just gotta check my battery too. I'm good. Okay. So here's our thing. So we should have this button active on channel 1 on MIDI note 60. So let's fire up MIDI aux again and watch me fail at something else. Well, that's a good sign. Actually, I forgot to hook it up to my keyboard, but you can hear when I tap this guy, it's actually hooked up to my keyboard because I didn't change the MIDI cable. It's actually working. You believe that? Man. All right. So let's hook it up to the computer again and see if we can see what message it's putting out. Yeah, and I don't know if you can read that, but when I push the note down, it's saying note on, 3C, and it's saying note C, right? Which is what we want, channel 1. That actually works. So there you go. Look at that. We have done it. We have accomplished something. We accomplished what we set out to do. Very cool. So, next step is we are going to hook up more buttons because one is fun, more is better. So let's hook up a bunch more. Now, I thought these buttons were fun, but they're not fun. All right. Better way about these in. Better. Here. All right, that's really weird, but apparently they like being on this side of the board better. There's a little pin that's kind of pushing them out. So, you know, why fight it? But, of course, now I have to change my... Do you see all the stuff I go through for you guys? All the hardship and pain I do for your entertainment. All right. All right, so here's another little fun thing we have to do. Since we're now using the other side of the board, we actually have to jump the power from one bus or one strip to the other. Right? Because these aren't connected, so we have to jump them across. All right, so that's good, that's fun, that's nice. So all we have to do is do similarly what we just did. Make sure we do the right pin so I don't look like a fool. That's what I feel like right now. Do it this way. This must be like riveting to watch. Like I can only imagine. Like right now, there's people doing crazy things. Not that you should stop watching because this is far more interesting in the long run. Kind of like the granola of Twitch channels. Like it's not exciting, but it's good for you. It'll make you strong. All right, go. Button number 3. What am I going to do with this? How much pain can I endure one day? But you know, like this is the kind of stuff guys who build the stuff that you use every day have to put up with. Your microwaves and your game controllers and all that. They had to have some guy sit there going, "Why doesn't that work? What's wrong with it? It should work. I don't understand. Comm channel, what? I set it up properly." Right? That's that's the thing about this hobby, right? Electronics. It will test your resolve. Right. I'm gonna do 5. You know what? What the heck? I'm just gonna do 8. I'm gonna do 8. I have 8. I had 8. How much do I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. That's how many I have sitting in front of me. Buttons have gone AWOL. All right, so we have 6 buttons. I could do more if I had them, but oh wait, here's one. Yeah, 6 is good. 6 is a nice even round number. So 6 is what we shall do. And the number of the counting shall be 6. 6 is the number of the counting. Thou shalt not count 5, unless thou proceeds immediately to 6. 7 is right out. For all you Monty Python fans. All right, I just need wires. Give me some wires. Come on. Can't I just have wires? Why can't I have things? Work hard. I want what everybody else has, which is the wires. I paint myself into a corner. Of course not. So, actually, no, I didn't. I'm actually very smart because now I can move the board over to the other side and do other things with it. like that. And my wiring will be simple and nice and fun. Now, if I just need longer, longer ones. You never have enough wires. Never. Got a whole handful, and I have so many shoes and nothing to wear. All right, so let's do this. Here you go, you pesky so-and-so. Oh, look at that. So neat. You know, wiring doesn't have to be neat. It just has to work. Neatness you can do later. Right now, we're just trying to get this working. So what I'm doing is I'm just connecting the buttons. The pins 2, 3, 4, 5. No, sorry. Yeah, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not a smart man sometimes. I put them in the wrong order. I am not a smart man. So that's 2. Next button is 3. Things make sense. 4, 5, 6. Remember, that's the worst count impression ever. I apologize. And finally, pin 7. Remember, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. This is 6 pins because we're starting from 0. Come on, Dave, figure it out. It's late. You know, I've had a long day. And I thought, you know what? I should go to bed. And I thought, no, you should stream, baby. Because your fans, all 6 of you, 7 of you now, are they're waiting. Can't let them down. Don't let the people down. All right. Check my thing. Yeah, good. All right. So let's get back to our programming, and we're gonna enable another 5 buttons to handle our 6 buttons. All right, so 6. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All on note channel 1. We want everything on channel 1 because we're going to play a lovely tune. Bounce time 60, 61. So that's like C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F. And command 0 and command 0. So what we got to do, we're going to add them all to our button array. So I have to put a comma between each one, and I have to type them and EU2 and comma and EU3 and comma, and 4. You guys enjoying it so far? Putting myself to sleep, my lord. 5 and finally comma and EU6. I have had so little sleep, but I'm pushed through for glory. EU2, 3, 4, 5, 6 buttons. They're all good. Everybody's happy. Things are nice. The world is good. Save that. Now, remember, since we have some weird, unknown, unexplainable, weird thing, I have to do this on the other computer that you can't see. So bear with me. I tell you a story. And you can listen to the glorious sound of me typing. All right, search button. Let's go. Let's copy. On Dark Ages. All right, copy B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Get to 1. Channel 1 for everyone. 6, 7, 8, 9, 0 for the command. Very nice, very good. Let's upload this and let's see what the heck just happened. Filing. And you know what? Plugging in the board is good. That's a good thing to do. Smart guy. You want to make sure you plug in the board first. That'll make your day a lot better. Try that again. Oh, look at that. That looks good. Lights blinking is a good thing. All right, so let's go back to the monitor and see what the heck we can do. So if life is good and things are well, the input. Guys, I'm just doing some cabling. Wait a minute. Oh, I know. I know why. I didn't set the number of buttons correctly because I'm a silly man. Buttons is 6. All right, that's pretty cool. What's with that guy? Got nothing on him. You got on the wrong pin. Smart man. All right, look at that. So now we got C. Huh? Yeah, it's hard to make a melody on a chromatic scale. Wow. but you can see the point, right? It's actually fun to play with. I'm having a lot of fun right now. All right, coolio. So that's now we got buttons, and you can add more. Like we've got a few more pins, we could add more, and you could make a full scale. You know, despite how hard I failed at all this today, it's actually not that difficult, he says. All right. Now, one thing else I would like to show you. How long have I been on this thing? Like an hour and something. Lord, man. That's way too much of me for anyone. All right. This, and I want. Okay. So, the one thing we didn't talk about was the command parameter, right? So if you look here, it says command parameter 0 equals note, 1 equals CC. So, so by changing this to a 1, we're actually going to output a Midi CC command, which can be used for things like sustain pedal. There's different, once again, you look at your synth manual and you find all the fun back page stuff that tells you what CC commands you do. So we looked at the beginning of this video using a potentiometer to change like a range of CC commands. But some CC commands only are on and off, right? So usually it's like 0 and 127, I think they toggle between. So let's do one CC command. And let's look up, because I don't remember every CC command. Actually, I got the manual for this easy synth I'm playing. Let's look down. So you notice I'm scrolling, and it gets uglier as the further you scroll down, the uglier it gets. The first part's all like, oh, pictures. Hey, smiling guy playing a key, having fun. The back's all like, basis X, blah blah blah. Keynote volume, blah. Right? Nasty. But you can see like maybe channel info, control, pitch bend. So what we're looking for is the number of the sustain pedal. Number. Voice name, breath. Voice parameter. Nope. Function parameter. Nope. See, look, like the further you get back, it gets uglier and uglier. System, we're looking for control change messages. There you go. What is the breath control? Sustain foot switch. Right there is controller 64. All right, so now we know. So let's go here and change this. So we change the command to 1, and we'll change the number to 64. And that should make this last button a what do you call it? A sustain pedal. Man, brain working not. All right, so remember I got to do this on the other computer so you can't see. Trust me on this. I am doing it. If this works, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to probably pass out and go to bed. All right. A sound that actually sings. Oh, that's nice. That's melodious. Oh, look at that. So if I play the key and I let it up, so I'm gonna get rid of I'm gonna go full screen on you guys. Look at that. If I play a key, I get the note, right? And I play it and I let it up, it stops immediately. But if I hold this down, look, it just sticks. Until I release this key. Special, nice, good. All right, so that's buttons, man. It only took us an hour to make this. Oh, yeah. That's a good sounding synth. Oh, cheesy piano. But look at this. Oh, I knocked the pin out. You're a genius. Sustain off. But you can see, all right, you can see the power of this. Like, you can get any type of button you want. You can assign them to whatever you want for your particular synth. Hopefully it sounds better than the one I'm using. And you can go to town. You can just go nuts with this stuff. So, I don't know what else to tell you other than thanks for watching. I'm going to go pass right out, and I will see you next time. I'm going to try to do these as often as I can, and we'll be nice and we'll be good and we'll have fun together. So tell your friends, subscribe, start a Twitch account, subscribe. I'm being real bossy right now. I'm sorry, but hey, it was a thing. All right, people, I will see you next time. This is Dave from Notes and Vault saying adios until next time. See ya.